This guy delivered a pizza. If someone on Instacart, let's say, picks out your groceries for you, I think that's a different story.
Yeah. But he delivered a pizza, then he cursed at the woman after she gave him a 25% tip. Good for DoorDash for firing the guy. I mean, that's, I'm proud to see the company standing up for the customer.
So Fox News is absolutely loving this viral clip of a guy complaining about a tip he received that unfortunately cost him his job. And while there's definitely a real conversation to be had against tipping or what should we do to possibly pay drivers or waitresses and waiters more, this certainly isn't the approach.
I mean, a 25% tip, that's a pretty good rate.
It's unbelievable. And I think this is what you see everywhere, though. Everybody wants a tip for everything that they do. They ring up an order. They bring you no service. They still want a tip. I think people are taken aback by this. And, do we have to pay all of this?
And listen, I'm willing to give some credence maybe to an everyday working American who is frustrated that he can't tip or doesn't want to tip because he himself is struggling to pay bills or she herself is struggling to pay bills. But anybody who's an anchor at Fox News, unless you are wildly out of control with your spending, you ain't struggling to pay your bills.
Would you have tipped, 100%?
I don't think she should be judged by what kind of house she's living in.
It's really funny to watch these people sit and complain about, oh, we just have to tip these drivers. We just have to tip these waitresses. Why can't you just pick yourself up by the bootstrap? Because in their eyes, if you've made yourself wealthy, you deserve a break. You deserve to get kick your feet up on the desk. Hence all the tax cuts for the rich and tax cuts for the corporations, because those are the benevolent individuals who will bless the economy and bless society. So it's really funny to watch these rich people complain about having a tip.
I actually think they're going to be coming for the money in our 401k. You shouldn't have saved that much money, Kaylee. What were you thinking? I mean, there's going to be a run on people who are perceived as having too much money. And in a capitalist society, you're allowed to earn as much as you want. Right?
Scary. So scary, Cheryl.
If you worried about a 401k, then you ain't really balling like that. If you worried about running out of money in your 401k, then you're not wealthy. Sorry, you're not wealthy. Wealthy people aren't worried about one source of income not coming through for them. So for you to sit here and say, if you've been working hard, sooner or later they're going to come after your paychecks. Like, well, people already pay taxes, so that's kind of already the case. But more importantly, as I pointed out in the last video, y'all are the ones who get your tax cuts more than anyone else. Y'all are the ones who just got the biggest corporate tax cut in history. Biden didn't even raise it back up to what it was before Trump cut it. You know what I'm saying? So what are y'all sitting here complaining about? The cost of living goes up every single year. That's why people are complaining about only getting 25% tips. They're just generally frustrated that they can't afford daily life. That's what they're frustrated about. You sitting there talking about some 401ks. Look, if you're worried about your 401k, you ain't wealthy.
To Jerry's point, tipping has gotten out of control in this country, and I think people are getting actually a little fed up with it. We're seeing now a lot of pushback about that tip jar because it's everywhere that you do business. And tipping is a way to say thank you. And if you, 20%, that's a good standard, I think, for everybody. But look, if you want to give more, but you should do it for service because that person does a great job, and a lot of them are very hardworking.
And yeah, you can say tipping has gotten out of control, but why has tipping gotten out of control? Because can't nobody afford to live. If restaurants and different types of service companies or whatever who have waiters, waitresses, drivers actually paid their workers some type of a living wage, then we wouldn't even need a tip. It truly would just be a additional thank you for your service. Thank you for doing such a good job. It wouldn't be a part of the job to where people feel like they have to tip you or else they're doing you dirty or else they're doing you wrong. Look, I've worked a lot of jobs where I had to get tips. So whenever I have additional money, I always tip handsomely because I understand the struggle. I understand what it's like. But people can't always afford to give more tips, which really brings us back to the bigger issue and the bigger policy problem is that can't nobody afford nothing. So that's what we need to address, not the fact that, people are just lazy. People just don't want to work hard. Yeah, okay.